Hello and welcome back to my TV channel, the Liverpool FC TV. And I hope I find you all good, whichever part of the world that you live in. And a big thank you to all my new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Please hit that like button and please post a comment. Now, I said at the end of my last video that I'd do my next video on another past manager, Joe Fagan. And here it is. Joe Fagan had been with Liverpool quite a number of years. He was there when Bill Shankly arrived in 1959. He was on the coaching staff. And when Bob Paisley took over from Shankly, he became number 2, assistant manager. And then poor old Bob, he was suffering with illness and he decided to step down in 1983. And of course, Liverpool didn't want to go outside and pick somebody new. They wanted it within. Simplicity, people who knew the ropes in Liverpool Football Club. And so Bob Paisley did recommend Joe Fagan, and they approached him, and reluctantly he took the job on. However, in his first season, full season, he was the first English manager to successfully get the treble. Won the European Cup, the League Championship and the League Cup in a replay at Main Road against Everton. Fantastic. In his second season, he didn't do as well, and his very last match, well, that was a bone of contention. It was always be remembered for all the wrong reasons. We were drawn against Juventus, and the final was in the Heysel Stadium in Brussels in Belgium. The stadium wasn't up to scratch and there was a lot of chaos, and this was all captured live on TV because the TV companies then had started to pick up on football. So we were getting a lot more live matches, European matches. We're still getting the league and the cup highlights, but they were trying to get live matches on board, apart from the FA Cup final. And so the cameras were there, whirling away, and lo and behold, there was trouble in the crowd before the game. Juventus fans were trying to get away from Liverpool fans. They got trapped against the wall that gave way, and unfortunately, most of the 39 people that got killed were Juventus fans, supporters. And approximately 600 got injured. And that rested very heavily on Joe Fagan, and he decided to step down. And it haunted him for the rest of his life. Now, I'm going to make a personal thing here. At the time, I was supporting Liverpool, and a few years later I read an autobiography by a player. He was an Australian, and he came over to the UK and found it very difficult to break into professional football, and he got eventually taken on by Middlesbrough. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you, when I used to watch him at Middlesbrough, I didn't like him. I thought his attitude was wrong and I didn't like his style of play. However, Bob Paisley signed him, and lo and behold, Liverpool transformed him into an outstanding player. Now, when Joe Fagan took over, I don't know whether there was a personality clash or it was his performance, although he did appear in the 1984 European Cup final. So I'm picking it was a personality clash. Joe Fagan didn't like him and was desperate to sell him. And Chelsea were very desperate to sign him. And both clubs had agreed a fee and everything was going along, and it was up to the player to sort out his personal details. But Craig Johnson, the Australian, decided he wanted to stay, and he stuck it out. And lo and behold, when Joe stepped down in 1985, he was only in charge of Liverpool as a manager for 2 years. Kenny Dalglish took over, and he was part of the integral team under Dalglish they won the 1986 FA Cup final at Wembley against Everton. Craig Johnson had a hand in one of the goals. He knocked the ball over the line, or made sure the ball went over the line for the second goal. He was a really, really good player. So it was just a shame that he almost did go to Chelsea, or he was forced to go, but he dug his heels in, typical Australian, dug his heels in and stayed with the club and found more and more success. As I say, Joe Fagan stepped down after the Heysel final, and he didn't like the limelight, so he disappeared for a while. But you could find him at Anfield and Melwood grounds, watching, giving advice to his successors if they wanted it. And he was part and parcel of the setup. He was always welcome back. And he literally was 80 and died of cancer, poor man. But that's the way it goes. You know, he was a true Scouser, very funny, always laughing, smoked cigarettes, but was determined to play simple football. That's what he liked, and that worked for him, and that worked for the team. Thank you for listening to my video. What I'm going to do now is, my next video will be on signings. There's a lot of rumours going around at the moment, and as I said in my last video, and I'll just reiterate it again, I'm not going to talk about possible signings. I will talk about signings coming into the Anfield and departing Anfield when it's made permanent. Jeremy Frimpong has come in. Unfortunately, Keller has left and gone to Brentford. He was understudy to Alisson in goal, but with the new goalkeeper coming in, he was going to drop down to third. So he's gone. And that's the only two that's happened that has been registered. So please look out for my videos, because once they've signed on the dotted line and the ink has dried and they've become a permanent Liverpool player, then I'll talk about them. And also people who are leaving Anfield. I believe there will be some still to go as the summer progresses. And don't forget, Liverpool players are back pre-season training on the 8th of July. Then they go to the Far East, round about the 25th of July. So there's not much more time. I will say this though, the fixtures have come out, and I think it's a fair spread for Liverpool, the way they've got Arsenal in August, Everton in September, and Manchester United in October, all at Anfield. But the spread after that is pretty good. Arsenal got a tough start, so it'll be interesting how they go. Man City, well, they've signed 4 cracking players. They're strengthening their squad. They want the crown back. You can see that. So it's going to be a hell of a tussle for the 2025-2026 season. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And please hit that like button. And please post a comment. If you think I'm right or wrong or whatever, I'd like to hear your views. So for now, take care and goodbye.